Hello to all my European and American friends. I just got off the phone with my lawyer and the verdict is in. The prison sentence has been ruled out. However, I am still convicted to a fine, but I'm gonna tell you everything. For those who may not know, I was facing 4 months of unsuspended prison for stating that the main threat to women in France comes from black and Arab immigrant men. And I was sued for these words, despite the fact that I was myself the victim of a sexual assault committed by a Tunisian migrant in 2022. Before your incredible mobilization, the judicial system had set out to crush me. I had already been sentenced to 6 months suspended prison and a 3,000 fine for denouncing human trafficking across the Mediterranean Sea. And this time, I think the goal was to finish the job by sending me to prison. But something changed. Following the advice of those close to me, I decided to stop staying silent. I shared my story with you in the hope that it would resonate. And honestly, I still don't know how to thank you. What happened feels almost unreal. Your support exceeded anything I could have imagined. The mediatic pressure became international. Italy, Germany, Austria, Sweden, Great Britain, Spain, Hungary, the Netherlands, Flanders, Switzerland, and far beyond Europe. The case reached the United States and even reached Japan. Because of you, this absurd injustice was forced to back down. I went from facing 4 months in prison to receiving a 1,000 euros fine. The moment we shine a light on what they are doing, they can no longer hide. We force them to answer for their policies. Recently in France, there was this Liana case, a pedophile reported repeatedly over the years, victims ignored and predators protected. Politicians only react when a scandal makes headlines. Yet, when it comes to prosecuting speech, the justice system moves back. When it comes to saving lives of the French native people, suddenly it is no longer a priority because it conflicts with their immigrationist agenda. So once again, thank you. Without your mobilization, without your support, God only knows what they would have done to me. You showed me that I was not alone despite what I had come to believe. You gave me the courage to keep fighting and never to give up. More importantly, thanks to your extraordinary generosity and the support you've shown me on Patreon, I have decided to appeal this conviction. So yes, it is a risk. I could end up receiving a harsher sentence, but after everything you have done for me, I simply do not have the right to be coward. In the past, I stood defenseless against what I see as a corrupt justice system. You have now given me both the financial and the psychological means to fight back. I know I will never be alone again. Because accepting this ruling would mean surrendering to the dominant narrative. It would be admitting that I was wrong to speak out about what I believe threatens the French people. It would mean accepting a criminal record like an ordinary offender when my only crime was speaking out in what I believe was the public interest. And while I am prosecuted for words, look at what is allowed to flourish elsewhere. In the United Kingdom, the recent reports on the grooming gang scandals have confirmed what victims had been saying for years. Young girls were exploited by organized networks while the institutions looked the other way, and information about the perpetrators' backgrounds was deliberately downplayed or omitted for fear of accusations of racism. That is the reality many would rather suppress. That is what we are told must not be named. And today I am being convicted for pointing to facts. I say it again, accepting this would make me complicit, and I refuse. Victims should not be punished for speaking while the society protects the silence of those who harmed them. So thank you so much. You have given me a second wind, and I will not let you down. You know, for years I was simply fighting to survive economically, crushed by mounting legal costs arrests and endless proceedings. My bank accounts were closed, my social media too, but for the first time, thanks to my Patreon, you have given me something priceless: independence, the freedom to speak without fearing that my voice will be silenced, the freedom not to depend on media outlets that are too afraid to amplify the concerns of ordinary citizens. From now on, I will be your direct correspondent on what is happening in France. I will continue to expose what our institutions, media, and political class would rather keep out of the international spotlight. The world stood with me when I needed it most. Now, I intend to make sure the world knows what is happening here. What worries me now are all the others, the people who do not have a community behind them, those who are quietly crushed by this system, just as I nearly was. So it is for them, for the invisible, that I want to keep fighting. And I promise you this, even if I'm too radical for the right-wing politicians in France, my determination and my radicality will not move an inch. Thank you so much, thank you. I would like to thank each one of you personally, but I just can't because you are too numerous. Thank you again for changing my life.